Good morning everyone. In this video we will go through the choice of specific loading for induction motor. So we have already gone through the output equation. So in this we will go through the specific loadings. That is the specific magnetic loading and the specific electric loading. So the choices, the advantages and disadvantages of having a high and low specific magnetic loading and specific electric loading. So on what factors they depend and what are the average call the approximate values of the specific magnetic loading and electric loading, depending on the size of the machine. So to start with the choice of specific magnetic loading. So one of the parameter that affects is the power factor. So the value of flux density in air gap should be as small. That is the thing, right? So because if it is not small, so it draws high magnetizing current. So this leads to the poor power factor. So that is the reason. And however, in induction motor, that is the flux in the air gap, should be such that there is no saturation in any part of the magnetic circuit. Next, the iron losses. So as we have seen even in the specific magnetic loading for DC, so with high values of the magnetic value, that is the flux, so which leads to more of iron losses. So that is the thing, so an increased in specific magnetic loading results in increased in iron losses and the efficiency is reduced. And then the next factor is the overall overload capacity. So with the specific magnetic loading being high, so the flux per pole is large. That is what, then the turns per phase and number of turns becomes less. So that is why the windings requires less turns. That is the advantage. And then because of this, the leakage reactance becomes less, so thereby gives maximum output for the same voltage. Therefore, with the high specific magnetic loading, we can have machines to work at overload capacity. That is, the overload capacity will be more when they have high specific magnetic loading. So advantages of having high specific magnetic loading is size of the machine is reduced. Then the cost of the machine decreases, overload capacity increases. Whereas the disadvantages of high specific magnetic loading is higher no load current, poor power factor, so then increased iron losses. So that is we have seen. So reduced efficiency due to increased losses, then higher temperature rises, and then the increased noise. So these are the disadvantage of having high specific magnetic loading. So the next we will see choice of specific electric loading. So the parameters they decide is the copper loss and the temperature rise. So the larger the value of specific electric loading, it means it requires more amount of copper. So this results in high copper losses and large temperature rise, because the losses in copper are usually I square R losses, which are in form of heat. And the next one is the voltage. So for small value of specific electric loading, should be taken for high voltage machines. So because it needs large space for insulation. That is the issue that we have. Then overload capacity. So the larger the value of ampere conductors, would result in larger number of turns per phase. Okay, larger the value of specific electric loading means larger number of turns per phase. Okay, so this means that increase in leakage reactance. Okay, that is the leakage reactance of the machine will increase, right? And then because of this the overload factor, okay, is reduced. Okay, so that is means having high value for specific electric loading will reduce the overload capacity of the machine. So the advantages of high specific electric loading: size of the machine is reduced for the same output, cost of the machine decreases. Disadvantages: increase in amount of copper. Okay, so it could be even in terms of cost also. Then higher copper losses, right? So higher the conductor or higher the copper means higher the losses. Reduced efficiency due to increased losses. Okay, increased temperature rise, right? And lower overload factor, that is due to the leakage reactance, and this increased temperature rise is due to the I square R losses. So next to see just specific values, right? So the loading, right? So specific magnetic loading BAV, right? So it depends on power factor, iron loss, and overload capacity. So these are the parameters that is dependent on. So we have right, so for different frequencies, so for 50 hertz machine, right, so the specific loading, right, magnetic loading, right, it varies between 0.3 to 0.6 Tesla or Weber per meter square. Okay, so for machines, right, right, so where overload factor is required for like cranes, rolling mills, right, the specific magnetic loading can go up to 0.65 Tesla, right, so it can be used. So for higher value of gap flux density, right, so that is the high value of specific magnetic loading can be assumed for low voltage machines, machines with small number of poles, and machines of larger output. Okay, so these are like saying that the value of BAV or the specific magnetic loading is high for low voltage machines, machines with small number of poles, and machines of larger output. The values of BAV can be high. Okay, then next specific electric loading, it depends on the copper loss, the temperature rise, voltage rating, and overload factors. Okay, so the value varies between 5,000 to 45,000 ampere conductor per meter. Okay, so depending on the size of the machine. Then smaller value of specific electric loading should be assumed for high voltage machines, as we have seen. So because of the insulation will be requiring more space, so at high voltage means the insulations also will be of higher level. So that is what here for the space required for insulation, right? So we have to have the smaller value of specific electric loading. Okay, so this will give us, right, the values. Okay, so right, so approximate values of specific magnetic loading and electric loading. Okay, for the two types of induction motors that we have, that is the squirrel cage induction motor and the slip ring induction motor. Okay, so for 1 kilowatt motor, right, so the for slip ring for a squirrel cage induction motor, the value of specific magnetic loading will be 0.35. Okay, so and the specific electric loading around 16,000 amp conductor per meter. And for slip ring, the same value for specific magnetic loading, whereas the specific electric loading is 12,000 ampere conductor per meter. And for different values, that is for 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 and up to 500 kilowatt ratings, right? So the we can call them, right, the values for specific magnetic loading and specific electric loading. Okay, with for squirrel cage as well as induction slip ring induction motor, you can see here in this slide. Next one is main dimensions, right? So here also, right, so as we have seen in the DC machine, right, so we had the d square L, right, so we had to take some ratio for it and then find out the values, right, so because they are the dimensions of the machine. So similarly here, right, so here we will get a value, right, so which is again d square L, right, so from the machine, that is the output equation of the machine, right. So that is how we can separate these two components, that is the diameter and the length. Okay, it depends on the ratio of L by toe. Okay, that is the length of core to the pole pitch. Okay, L by toe. So here are a few values of L by toe, right. So for different requirements that we go, right. So for if you're going for minimum cost machine, right, if the cost is the main criteria, then we take the ratio of L by toe to be 1.5 to 2. Okay, and then for good power factor, right, so L by tau, okay, to be 1, right. So for good power factors, right, then for good efficiency, right, so 1.5, and then so for having overall good design, right, so we can go for 1, right. So the L by tau, okay, for good power factor is 1 to 1.25. Okay, so it's not just 1, it is 1 to 1.25. Okay, small correction here, right. So this value 1 to 1.25, right. So generally, right, so L by tau, right, so is between 0.6 to 2. Okay, and where tau is equal to square root of 0.18 L. Okay, so this is what is taken, right. And then the diameter, right, so we have the limiting, right, so limitation is by the VA, that is the peripheral speed. Okay, so that is what, right, so peripheral speed, which will determine the diameter. Okay, so what are the values, right, so we can have up to 60 meter per second, right, so we can go up to 60 meters per second on a general design. Okay, and then 75 meter per second with special rotor construction. Okay, if you are requiring such application, right, can go up to 75 meter per second, right, for special rotor construction. And it is, right, usually, right, limited, right, so the peripheral speed VA not to exceed 30 meter per second. Okay, so that is how it is, right. So we can say it can go up to 60 for normal design only, right, but it is usually operated at this range or at these values, approximately around these values, right. And then up to 60 you can go for normal designs only. And for special, if you have the rotor, right, so where you have maybe the materials used or the design of the rotor, okay, we can go up to 75 meter per second. And then the ventilating ducts. Okay, so there, right, so the stator is provided with ventilating ducts. Okay, the core length, okay, not to exceed, okay, right, 100 to 125 mm, right, that is the ventilating ducts are given, right. So where the L is greater than 100 and up to 125 millimeter, and the width, okay, of each duct, right, so which varies, ranges between 8 to 10 mm width. Okay, so that is what it is saying. Next one is the stator windings, right. So the how will the stator winding will be, what they are made up of, right. So generally double layer lap type winding with diamond shaped coils is generally used for stators. Okay, so to know how it look, right, so this is how, right, so the diamond shaped, okay, are being used, that is what, right. So in general, layer lap type winding, right. So somewhere here in source it says lap, right? So in some sources it is lap and wave both they have given, right? So going through the majority of the sources, lap is used, so that is what is given. Okay, so lap type winding with diamond shaped coils is used for the stators. Small motors with small number of slots and having large number of turns per phase may use single layer mush winding, right? So this is for small motors, okay, small number of slots and having large number of turns per phase. So this is the mush winding. Okay, so they are like over lapping. Okay, so this is the mush winding, right? Right, and then three-phase of winding may be connected in either star or delta depending on the starting methods employed. Okay, so starting methods, so that the three-phase winding, depending on the starting methods, they are either connected in star or delta. Okay, so usually we know, right, the squirrel cage motors, okay, started by star delta starters. Okay, so the stators, right, so designed for delta connection. Okay, the stators is for delta connection, right? The wound rotors are started by putting resistance in the rotor circuit, therefore for wound rotor, right? So they can be connected either star or delta. Okay, so depending on the way they are started, the windings are either in star or delta. Okay, so this is the right coils that are ready to go to into the slots. Okay, next is stator turns per phase, right? So we have the flux per pole. Okay, so phi m, right? So we know that by the basic equation that we have for magnetic specific magnetic loading, right? So BAV, right? So from that, right? So phi m is equal to BAV, which is the specific magnetic loading, okay, into tau into L, that is the phi m. Okay, so so phi m will be B average into pi dl by P. Okay, so from the basic equation for specific magnetic loading, and then stator voltage per phase, that is ES, right? So it will be 4.44 F phi m TS into kW, right? So this TS is number of turns per phase in the stator. Okay, number of turns per phase in the stator. Okay, so it is not T, it is TS, so it is turns per phase, and kWs, okay, it is the stator winding factor. Okay, so therefore stator turns per phase TS will be equal to ES divided by 4.44 kWs F into phi m. Okay, so this is the stators per phase, right? And then for stator conductors, right? So here the important factor would be the current density, right? The cross section area of the stator conductors can be estimated from the knowledge of current density, right? Right, so the kVA rating and stator phase voltage from these things, that is the current density, stator phase voltage, and kVA rating, it can be found out. So delta S, that is the current density, right? Current per area. So it lies between 3 to 5 ampere per millimeter square. Okay, and the current per phase, right? So it will be, right, Q divided by 3E. Okay, so that is the total power, right? So Q divided by 3Es, right? So it is the voltage, right? That is the stator voltage per phase ES. Okay, so Q is the total power. So, right, as AS, right? So that is the area will be equal to current by delta, right? So round conductors are used for smaller diameter. Okay, so for small diameter we go for round conductors. Right? So for high currents, right, we use bar or strip conductors. Okay, for high, right, bar or strip conductors, right, so is used, right. Then so the use of this bar and strip conductors, okay, so they give better space factor for the slots. Okay, so that is the advantage that when we have when we use bar and stripped conductors. Okay, so for small we go for round conductors. Okay, so for larger, right, that is more than 2 to 3 right, so we were difficult in to wind them. Okay, so at that time we go for bar or strip conductors, right. So and use of this strip conductors and bar or strip conductors has the advantage that is going to give better space factor for slots. So that means more of areas, right, the slots can be filled with the conductors. Okay, so these are the things, right. So again, when we go into numericals, right, so these are just the theory part of them. So when we go into the numericals, right, so it will be clear. Thank you.